Well, here's the book. It's called Made in India. And
A memoir.
A memoir. Thank you so much, Milind Soman, for chatting with me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well,
Always a pleasure.
You know, it was very interesting to know that something that you love doing and you're almost the ambassador of, which is running. Thanks to the book, we know that you actually detested it. Can you tell us this journey about not liking something to then liking it, loving it, and then living it?
Well, actually, it's quite simple. So when I was a kid, I used to be a competitive swimmer. And of course, before every training session, the coaches used to send us for a warm-up, which was like a 3-4 kilometer run. And I didn't really see the value in it at that time. And so I used to go out, hide behind some hedge or something, come back, pretend to be like panting and say, oh, that was a great run. Now let's start the swim. But by the time I got to the age of 37, and the Mumbai Marathon actually was announced, which was in 2003, I realized that I had this dream when I was a kid, you know, that at some point in my life, so it wasn't about 3 or 4 kilometers, it was about the marathon.
Correct.
You know, at some point in my life, I must run a marathon. And to me, it was almost like a rite of passage that to be a man, every man must run a marathon.
Correct.
To be called a man, you know, otherwise you're not a man. You don't. I was a kid, so you don't need to pay much attention to that. And when it was announced, I said, okay, I've never attempted this before, but now it's in my city. I can't lose this opportunity. So I signed up for the half marathon, which is 21 kilometers. And of course, everyone told me, come on, you're 37 years old. It's 21 kilometers. This is 17 years ago. So a lot of Indians weren't running at that time. And they said it's going to be really tough. And imagine you're running in Bombay. Those people in America, it's much different, you know, it's cooler. And
they can
here
run.
It's really hot and it's humid and you're 37 and it's hot and humid and you're 37.
And you're 37.
And, you know, you'll faint and you'll get cramps and you'll die and all of that. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Let's see. And I've always been a little bit arrogant about my fitness, you know. So I was like, okay, we'll see. So I trained for about 3 or 4 months on a treadmill, and then I started running on the road. And it was terrible. Okay, it was so boring and monotonous, and you know, all the things that non-runners can imagine were true for me at that time. That, you know, it's just going on and on, one step after the other, hour after hour, and you know, you're not getting anywhere. You're not, you know, why do you do this? And you know, people ask me even today, and I've been running marathons for 17 years. And all runners get asked this question about non-runners is, why are you running? Where are you going?
Right.
And where are you going to reach? And what for? And wouldn't you rather have a chicken tikka or whatever?
Okay.
Or whatever.
That's motivating.
And I was like, yeah, it's okay, but I have to do this. It's, you know, once in my life, I have to run a marathon. But when I ran that half marathon and I finished that 21 kilometer distance, it was actually so easy.
Correct.
That all the things that I had thought, the negative things that I had thought that, oh, it's going to be really tough and the last 5 kilometers are going to be terrible and how am I going to get to the finish line? Compounded by all the things that people have told me that it's going to be difficult and you can't do it and so on. All of that I realized was just a myth.
Wow.
You know, it's all about what you believe. Right? Not to do with running. It has to do with any aspect of your life. So that was a great lesson, and I got hooked to the fact that I felt so great after running 21. I wanted to then test myself against bigger distances. And that's what happens to all runners. They start with the 5 kilometer because that's all they can imagine.
Yeah.
Then they go to a 10 because they've done 5. And then they go say, wow, I did 10. And then they go to 21. Then they go to 42. Then they go to 50. Then they go to 100.
Right.
And where does it end? And that just shows you how your mind is getting stronger and stronger.
Correct.
How your mind is getting freer and freer to imagine more for yourself, to really test your potential more and more. And you just don't know till what level or what length you can test it. And of course, the longest run that I have done was running from Delhi to Bombay, which was 1,500 kilometers in 2012, and which was very long and very hard.
It took 30 days.
It took 30 days at 50 kilometers a day. But again, it was an amazing experience. And every run is an amazing experience. So for me, fitness is not about physicality. It's about your mind. It's about your mind learning, your mind experiencing, your mind understanding, and just getting stronger and stronger and stronger and going into spaces that you had never imagined.
And I remember reading about stress and how it's actually a good thing. And it's like, you know, people look at us and they're saying, how can that be a good thing? But here's Milind telling us a little bit about why stress can be good for you.
Well, yeah, so we are told, you know, all the time that stress can kill you. And it is a fact. And stress is a terrible thing. and stress is debilitating, and stress causes disease of mind and body, and all of it is true. But the actual truth is that happens only when you don't understand how to deal with it. So stress can be debilitating and it can kill you, but it can also take you very, very, very far ahead and all the way in the direction that you want to go to, if you can deal with it correctly, if you can use it, if you can leverage it, you know. So that is what I have found throughout my life. I mean, we know that hunger is a stress. You know, thirst is a stress. It's a trigger. If you don't feel hunger, you won't eat. If you don't feel thirsty, you won't drink. And where will that get you? Right? So the point at which the human species has reached today is because of different obstacles and different stresses and different difficulties, and our understanding and our abilities to overcome them and therefore move forward and evolve. And we can only evolve if we deal with stress in a good way.
Correct.
And stress is everywhere.
Yes.
Right? It's every day. It's every minute. Firstly, the stress is where you recognize it as stress, and then the stress is where you can use it in a way to get better or give up.
How did you use it to make it better?
So for me, once I realized that, I started building challenges into my own life. You know, so when in fact, after the first time I ran a half marathon, I said, you know, I must do more, you know, because I want to see where else my mind can go and what are the other obstacles that I'm facing in my mind. Because I realize now that my body is not facing the challenges that my mind is facing. My body, I don't even know how to test my body till my mind can desire something.
Wonderful.
And that is something that I first need to imagine. I'll give you the difference in two physical endurance challenges. One is the Ironman, which I have done, and one is the Ultraman also, which I have done. So I did the Ironman in 2015 when I was 50. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to make that milestone memorable. You know, I'm 50, everybody told me, you're 50, what are you going to do? And where's the party?
Well, that's what he did when he turned 50.
You know, and you know where parties are for me. So parties are here. So I said, okay, let me do this challenge. I just heard of it. I said, it's amazing. I think I must pit myself against this. I'm 50. This is the right time to do it. So I did Ironman, and the thing with Ironman is it's supposed to be the toughest single-day triathlon in the world. Okay, but after I did it, I realized that it was easy to do for me because I prepared. Again, like I said, preparation is everything. I took about 80 days to prepare. I did the Ironman. It was great. And what I saw was that the Ironman happens across many, many cities in the world, maybe 40, 50 cities in the world. And at every Ironman, there are about 1,000 or 2,000 people who actually complete within the stipulated time and are given the title of Ironman. So almost 150,000 people become Ironman every year.
Correct. And that's not exciting.
If you look at the marathon, millions of people are running that 42 kilometers every year. And another billions of people are thinking they're crazy and it's impossible. You know, it's all a question of imagining it. Now, when you come to Ultraman, the number of people participating is 45.
That's it.
In any edition.
Really?
It's 45 to 50. So where this is 3,000 people doing Ironman, which is supposedly the toughest triathlon in the world, here in Ultraman, because again, even those people can't imagine this, it comes down to 45 to 50.
Amazing.
So there aren't more cities. There may be 3 or 4 cities in the world that do it. And these are the numbers of people that participate. Because people say, what? And Ultraman is, for people who don't know Ironman.
Please tell us a little bit about it.
Ironman is a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer cycling, and a 42 kilometer run, which is the full marathon. The Ultraman, which you have to finish in about 16 or 17 hours, depending on the city. Ultraman is a 3-day triathlon. Every day you're given 12 hours. And in those 12 hours, on the first day, you have to do a 10 kilometer swim and 140 kilometer cycling. On the second day, you have to do 280 kilometers cycling. And on the third day, you do 84 kilometers running, which is a double marathon.
Double marathon, yeah.
So just that is enough to put off most people. And they say, we can't do this. So when I came back after Ultraman and people said to me, a lot of people met me and said, oh, you did Ultraman, that's amazing. You're so fit, only you can do it. I said, no, anybody can do it. You can do it. No, not me. Only you can do this. I said, okay, let me tell you that in the Ultraman, the man who finished before me was 67. I was 52. He was 67 with one leg. Now, if a man who is 67 with one leg can do this challenge and complete this challenge, you're only 40 years old. What is your problem? With 2 legs? You know? So it's all about the mind.
But Milind, let's not sound invincible, because again, a lot of people watching this video are probably thinking only Milind Soman can do that.
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy.
But no,
and not true at all.
No, let me make this a little more real.
You can do it.
I will do it.
Sure.
I promise you. I wanted to ask you to tell us a little bit about the other side, which is, it's not all roses. He's not running bare feet and he loves it. There are the stones in the way.
No, he's running barefoot and he loves it.
He loves it. But one
He
second.
loves it. He can't imagine running with shoes.
But I know for a fact that you also had...
I mean, he
times
can
where
imagine it because I had run with shoes. I ran with shoes for 8 years before I transitioned to barefoot. But
Correct.
I prefer barefoot.
You prefer barefoot.
Yes,
But,
for sure.
but for a fact that some people might think that, no, I think Milind Soman is invincible.
I am.
Has it happened that you've been...
I am, because if you believe you're invincible, you are.
You are. But, there is a tough time sometimes when your body is stressed and your body is physically not able to take some pressure.
Yes.
Do you remember a time like that? I think that it was the time around you got diagnosed with scoliosis.
Oh, it was a wrong diagnosis.
This is the wrong
It
diagnosis?
was a wrong diagnosis. So
Oh,
I'll tell you
thank
what
God for
happened.
that.
That's like I have a lot of experience with doctors, and they're wonderful, wonderful people. In fact, all 4 of my grandparents were doctors.
That's correct.
And 2 of them were teaching medicine. But when I ran the Delhi to Bombay
Yes.
event, I had this pain in my back, which was a very, very severe pain. But I only got it when I was sitting down.
Okay.
And while I was running, I could not feel any pain at all. So I was convinced in my head that it's a muscle that is cramping.
Correct.
And but I didn't know how to release that muscle, how to let that muscle come out of that spasm.
Correct.
So I had that while I was running Delhi to Bombay, and then it kind of came and went over the next 6 months. And I said that I need to show it to somebody because it didn't just go away.
Correct.
It kept recurring. So I went to meet an orthopedic surgeon. And the moment he saw me and I came limping into his office, and he said, "I think you have a slip disc." So I said, "Ooh, that's very scary.
Of course.
It's really scary." So how old was I then? This was 2012.
12. Yeah.
And so I was about 42. 41, 42. So he said, "Oh, I had it the same age as you." He must have been about 55 or so. And I said, "Oh, it's terrible. You think it's a slip disc?" He says, "Yes, go right now and get an MRI."
Correct.
Went and I got the MRI, I showed it to him. He said, "See, I told you, this is a slip disc." So I said, "Oh, what do I do?" He said, "Just lie in bed for 15 days.
Exactly. That's what
I
they
said,
say.
"Okay." So I lay in bed for 15 days. It was tough because I couldn't lie down. It was really painful because the muscle was in a spasm. It wasn't a slip disc, which I didn't know. Then he said, he came to meet me 15 days later, did some tests, and he said, "There's no improvement. You have to lie in bed for another 10 days.
Oh my God.
So I said, but we had Google.
Yeah.
So I had been reading
God.
on, I know, the nightmare of all doctors.
Oh my
I had been doing a little bit of internet research, and I saw, the only thing I saw, which was common to all the pieces of research that I was reading, said that whatever the problem, you can't rest for more than 2 days. You have to start rehabilitation, you have to start physiotherapy, and you have to begin to strengthen, whatever
muscles,
part of you is weak.
Correct.
And the diagnosis has to be correct.
Correct.
So then I called in a physiotherapist. And I asked this. So physiotherapist was very young. She was like 25 years old. And I said, and that doctor was like 55. So with a lot of experience. So she said that, so she checked me and she said that, I think you have scoliosis.
Okay.
Because your spine is tilted to the side.
Correct.
So I said, "Oh, that's even worse." I said, "Is this your diagnosis now?" I said, "I have one that is slip disc and one that is scoliosis. So now how do I know which one is right, or is it both? I mean, what is it?" I said, "First give me a diagnosis and then we'll figure out what we need to do." So she said, "I don't know, but all the muscles on one side of your body are really tight. We need to release them."
Okay.
So I said, "Okay, so obviously with the pain, your muscles get tighter and tighter and tighter because you're tenser and tenser, right?" So I said, "Okay, let's do that." So she started to release the muscles down my back. And what I realized was that your muscles are so powerful, they can actually pull your joints out of alignment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they can pull your kneecap to one side, they can pull your shoulder out of alignment, your elbow, your pelvis, everything can be, your back, your backbone can be pulled out of alignment by your muscles if they go into a spasm or they're stiff or whatever. And that causes stresses of imbalance.
Correct.
So then I said, "Okay, let's do it." So she did this massage, and in 5 minutes, it was gone.
Oh my God.
And it never came back.
Touch wood. That's amazing.
It's 2012.
That's
We're in
amazing.
2020.
That's amazing.
I ran the Mumbai Marathon 1 month after that.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It went away and never came back. So it was not scoliosis, it was not a slip disc, it was only a muscle
Tense
spasm.
muscles?
It was just one muscle that had gone into a
A
spasm.
spasm.
And it was a deep muscle. So
Correct.
I couldn't
You couldn't
release it
access it.
myself. I
Correct.
couldn't access it.
Correct.
It had to be a deep massage. And in 5 minutes it was gone and never came back.
Well, that's great.
Yes.
Thankfully.
I have done now 17 years without any kind of injury.
Correct.
That happens when you're patient
Yes.
with your body. You let your body learn. You give it the time that it needs, and then you can run from here to London. It doesn't matter.
And don't be surprised if he does that. Speaking of urges, you did not succumb to smoking or drinking when you were too young, because your teenage kind of escaped that, right?
It did. I had my first alcoholic drink when I was 23.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there was this phase of smoking when
I had my first soft drink when I was 23.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Big.
That's a big one.
I was so
But
lucky.
that's thanks to I.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
In my family, even my father, they were totally against eating out. Eating out means any food from outside
Correct.
was frowned on.
Correct.
Now I travel so much and it's mostly restaurants, but now I know what I need to eat and what I shouldn't eat or what I should minimize. It's not that I have a diet. I don't have a diet at all. I eat everything. But, and it's not that I can eat everything because I'm fit. I can eat everything because I know how much to eat. Again, it's all about understanding what is good for your body, what isn't. And again, it's not about even thinking about it. For me now, it's automatic.
Correct.
I taste something and say, wow, this is amazing, but I don't need to eat more of it. It's fine. I don't even say I don't need to eat more of it. It's just gone.
It's just gone, yeah.
So like, for example, about 6 or 7 years ago, I talk a lot, by the way. I read a lot of this.
Of course.
I had a shelf in my bedroom,
Correct.
which was full of chocolates from across the world, different kinds of chocolates. I love chocolate. I still do. But I don't have that shelf anymore. Because now I eat chocolate very, very rarely. If I really feel a craving for it and I see a really great chocolate, then I eat it.
Correct.
Otherwise, I don't bother.
Correct.
And sometimes I don't even notice now that there could be a chocolate on the table.
Wow.
So it becomes automatic. Once you start making the right choices, it becomes an automatic habit. You don't even see that choice.
Before we wrap this up, I want to ask you, this whole constant sort of camera on you, all right? You've been in the public eye.
Yeah, so I know how to pose this.
Since forever.
Yeah.
Right from television to the movies to music videos, you've done it all. Does that gaze affect everything that you... clearly it does. Does that gaze give you pressure for being this person, or do you just enjoy all of this? What has become of Milind Soman?
I don't think much about it. Let's put it that way. I get a lot of appreciation for a lot of things, and I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah.
But mostly in my life, and this is right from the beginning of my public life, I've always done what I wanted to do, that I was comfortable doing. Like, for example, even as a model, I never accepted offers to endorse alcohol, ever. Even though I used to drink once in a while. Never. No endorsing alcohol, no tobacco products, no soft drinks, no chips. Anything that I thought might be harmful for health or fitness, I didn't endorse. Even though I liked it. I eat chips. I love chips. But I know that it's not good. But I know I can control it.
Correct.
And I'm not going to tell anybody that this is good for you.
Correct.
Or you can do it with impunity.
I hope this was fun for all of you watching. Don't forget, this is the wonderful book. This is Made in India, a memoir, Milind Soman with Rupa Pai, and it's such an easy read.